Well, as this day is coming to a close and we've reached evening now, I wanted to give you a scripture tonight that's actually from the Apostle Paul when he thought he was reaching the end of his life and he was in prison in Rome and he was writing to one of his young proteges, Timothy. And it's the second letter that we have recorded that he wrote to Timothy. And he is grateful for the people in his life that have encouraged and touched him. And he wanted to give a shout out or a mention to those people who had been a blessing to him. So in the closing of his letter to Timothy, he mentions an individual named Onesiphorus. And I know it's a little hard to say, and I'm probably not saying it perfectly. He has mentioned other people like Philemon and Onesimus and Priscilla and Aquila, and then the famous Tychicus or Tychicus, but neither one of those is close to the right pronunciation of the name. But now there's another gentleman's name that is mentioned that sounds kind of similar to Onesimus, but it's not the same. His name is Onesiphorus. And this is what he says about Onesiphorus. It's in 2 Timothy chapter 1, verses 15 through 18. You know that everyone in the province of Asia has deserted me, including Phygelus and Hermogenes. May the Lord show mercy to the household of Onesiphorus, because he often refreshed me and was not ashamed of my chains. On the contrary, when he was in Rome, he searched hard for me until he found me. May the Lord grant that he will find mercy from the Lord on that day. You know very well in how many ways he helped me in Ephesus. So Paul is pointing out that this man, this is the only mention of him that we have in the New Testament, but it's obvious that God used this man, Onesiphorus, to encourage Paul and to help him. He had helped Paul apparently when Paul was in the city of Ephesus ministering there, because he mentions this and said that it was well known by the Timothy of all the help that he had given Paul while he was in that city. But he mentions that this man, Onesiphorus, had been an encouragement to him and had sought him out even when others had to go their own way and Paul felt in some ways a little bit deserted. He said this man, Onesiphorus, had sought him out and wanted to make sure that he was offering encouragement to Paul even when Paul was going through a tough time. And it meant so much to Paul. It's interesting that that man's Greek name literally means to a profit bringer, or to bring profit. And the interesting thing is, as we think about his name, he brought a profit to Paul, but it wasn't a financial profit necessarily. It was more the emotional and the spiritual profit that was given to Paul through Onesiphorus because of his love for Jesus and his love for Paul. And so through that encouragement, he was bringing profit or gain to Paul spiritually and emotionally. And that's the thought that I just want to share with you this evening. How can we be profit bringers to the people in our lives that we know, or maybe some that we don't know, but they're going through a tough time? And it would be great if you would seek hard after them, or in other words, to really make an effort to find out contact information for them, to give them a call or send them an email or write them a letter, send them a card, or to even perhaps visit them. How can you and I be an Onesiphorus to someone else? So I hope you'll think about that. And here again, here's another individual in the New Testament that is only mentioned a couple of times, a name that is not familiar with us at all, like many of the other names. And yet Jesus used to have a huge impact on the church as it was forming and growing in that first century. I pray that you and I can look for ways that we can be encouragers and be the same type of person for the people around us. You don't have to be a missionary, a preacher, a teacher, but you sure can encourage a missionary, a teacher, a preacher, and in your own way, you're becoming a part of their work and ministry and the Lord's work through you. God bless you.